She's like a sickness in my brain, a vision standing by the window pane. She ripples through the blinds and leaves me in a daze. It's in the way her body moves me, the way she grabs me and intoxicates, until the signals in my mind forget to operate. Fragile skull, I take my pleasure from my alcohol. She'll never give you any time at all. She just comes and goes, you know, and she's got me living in a chemical love, and I try to find the strength to know she comes back to me again.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me for another Coffee and Crime Time. Today we're talking about a case that's currently evolving and unraveling, but the details of it are shocking, and I think there may be much more to it than meets the eye. But before we dive right in, let's have a word from the sponsor of today's video, Audible. I've been a die-hard, loyal Audible user for many years, pretty much since the beginning, since it became a thing. With Audible, you can always find the perfect title for whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, or whatever you're feeling, whether it's comedy, romance, suspense, true crime, history, science fiction, health and wellness, or really anything. Audible has more than enough to keep you entertained. If you looked into my Audible library, you would see that the audiobooks I can't get enough of are the history ones. I'm currently listening to an audiobook called A Short History of Ireland, which is such a really great overview, and it's organized in a very easy to follow way. But that's just what I'm personally drawn to for easy listening. But Audible has also been such a help to me for my channel because it's my go-to place to find relevant titles that are related to whatever case I'm researching. So it's been incredibly invaluable to me for that specific reason. And as an Audible member, you'll get 1 credit every month that's good for any title in their premium collection, including the latest bestsellers. And these titles are yours to keep forever. So I don't care if the book's $35, which is usually the books that I use my credits for, are the expensive long ones. It doesn't matter what the price of the book is. You will get it with that credit. You'll also get full access to the Popular Plus catalog, and this is filled with thousands of audiobooks, original entertainment, guided fitness and meditation, which I have actually been using because it's been a very stressful month for me, and I love their guided meditations. There's sleep tracks for better rest. There's podcasts, including ad-free versions of your favorite shows, and there's exclusive series. You can download and stream these for no additional cost and without using any credits. You can listen to Audible while working from home, or if you're on the go, on the treadmill, during a long car ride, on a bike ride, anytime, anywhere. New members can also try Audible for 30 days, and one of my favorite benefits is how easy it is to exchange a book. If you're listening to an audiobook and you're a couple chapters in and then you realize you don't really like it, you can exchange it. There's literally no questions asked. The Audible app is so great. It's available on Apple, Android, Windows phones. You can switch seamlessly between devices so that you can pick right up where you left off. You can speed up the narration, which I often do because sometimes they talk a little slower and I'm like, come on, I got work to do. Like, tell me the story. You can also set a sleep timer if you fall asleep listening to the audiobook and you don't want it to go like 16 chapters ahead. Audible's created to make your listening experience as easy and enjoyable as possible. So you can start listening today with a free 30-day Audible trial and get full access to thousands and thousands of all-you-can-listen-to audiobooks, original entertainment, and podcasts that are included in the Plus catalog. Visit audible.com/stephanieharlowe or text Stephanie Harlowe to 500-500. Once again, that's audible.com/stephanieharlowe, and there's an E on the end of Stephanie and Harlowe, or text Stephanie Harlowe to 500-500 and start listening to your next favorite book right now. Thank you so much to Audible for sponsoring this video. I really, really do like Audible. I don't tell you guys that I like things and I don't actually like them. I really love Audible. I recommend it to anybody who enjoys listening to audiobooks, anybody who's, a voracious book devourer. I definitely recommend Audible. Let's dive right into the case, and we're going to talk about Daniel Halseth. On the evening of April 9th, 2021, so just this month, 45-year-old Daniel Halseth was found in the garage of his Nevada apartment. He had multiple wounds, and his body was found almost completely burned. Now, Daniel's mother had been trying to get a hold of him for 2 days, and from what I can tell, they were pretty close, Daniel and his mother. Daniel was actually fairly active on social media. He had over 20,000 followers on Instagram, where he described himself as an entrepreneur, and the majority of his posts on Instagram are either pictures that he took, because according to his aunt, Daniel was an extremely talented photographer and musician. His last picture is from a plane, and it looks like, it's an overview of Las Vegas, and he appears to be arriving back to Las Vegas after a trip that he took, and he's arriving back in Las Vegas on April 7th, just a few days before he was found dead. On this trip that he took, just going off of what I see on Instagram, it seems that he went to Providence, Rhode Island, Oakland, California, Boston, Massachusetts. He took a lot of pictures while he was there, some videos, mostly of the scenery, historical monuments, things like that.
Hello, friends. Over here in Rhode Island, checking out the scene, sporting it out, hitting a hard little bit of windy up here, but little wind up here, but it's just so great. And the weather's been perfect. The flowers are in bloom. You can tell spring's approaching, and all the architecture is pretty cool. A lot of brick, a lot of canals in the area, and a lot of history, which is pretty cool. Just checking it out. And the oldest church, the First Baptist Church, is kind of right in the background over there, as you can see right there, at the top of it. But just you can tell that there's just a lot of history here. It goes way back. The architecture is pretty cool. Like a little bit of a music like college here. A lot of design schools seem to be pretty popular here. Some pretty friendly squirrels. The Capitol over there, or the Supreme Court, right there, at the top of it. I'm on another hill just up a ways, but from downtown, but it's so cool. And I hope today you remember how amazing you are. Don't forget about your gifts that God's blessed you with, and have a beautiful rest of your Easter.
The rest of his Instagram posts are motivational posts, such as, quote, "A simple rule in life, if you wouldn't like it done to you, don't do it to others," end quote. And, there's quotes about nature, being a good person, helping others, being better than your past. He seemed to really like animals as well. There's a ton of animals on his Instagram. I saw a video of 2 little piglets by the fire, and they were like cuddling, and so he just seems to have access to a lot of animals, or own a lot of animals, but he definitely seemed to like animals. Daniel also had a YouTube page where he posts videos of hiking through the Muir Woods and the Bay Area. These are both in California, I believe. And Daniel had also been married to a woman named Elizabeth Helgelian, who was the youngest woman to be elected to the Nevada State Senate. She was elected in 2010 at the age of 27. She and Daniel had gotten married in March of 2001, and they got divorced in 2011 after having 3 children together. And we'll talk a little bit more about their relationship and this divorce in a moment. So anyways, like I said, Daniel and his mother, they seem to have been close. So when she hadn't talked to him or seen him in 2 days, she called the police and she asked them to perform a welfare check on her son. And according to reports, Daniel's landlord and another individual found him dead and burnt in his garage, and then they called the police. While searching the home, police found a bottle of lighter fluid, a chainsaw, a circular saw, and a handsaw that apparently had blood on it, as well as human tissue between the teeth of the handsaw. There was also 2 pocket knives found and a package of extra blades, and it appeared that many of these items had blood on them at one point, but they'd been cleaned off. Police stated that it appeared as if an extensive cleanup was attempted in the home's kitchen, where they found the pocket knife, and one of the pocket knives still had blood on it. Daniel Halseth had died from multiple stab wounds to his chest, neck, and back, and it appeared that whoever had done this to him had attempted to dismember him, and then they set a fire in the house to cover the crime up. There was also a strong odor of lighter fluid throughout the house and a large burn area that was found in the living room with some blood nearby. Police have stated that they believe an attempt was made to burn down the entire house after this murder was committed. As the police were investigating, 2 individuals approached stating that they were looking for their 18-year-old son, Aaron Guerrero, who had run away from home on April 8th, and they believed that he would be with Daniel's 16-year-old daughter, Sierra. Now, apparently, Aaron and Sierra had been dating for several months, and they'd been making plans to rob their parents and then run away together to Los Angeles. But their plot had been uncovered, and together, Aaron's parents and Sierra's parents had decided that it would probably be best to forbid the teens from seeing each other any longer, which does put an interesting spin on the story and shines a light on the possible motive in Daniel Halseth's murder, because both Aaron and Sierra were arrested in Salt Lake City, Utah, just a few days later after fleeing the state. They were captured on surveillance camera driving away from Daniel's home the night of his murder in a car registered to him. Detectives also reviewed footage from the surveillance camera of a hardware store where they saw Aaron purchasing a saw, lighter fluid, and plastic gloves. Sierra was also seen on surveillance buying bleach from a grocery store. Additionally, Daniel's ex-wife, Elizabeth, who claimed that they had remained friends after they divorced, they still shared a bank account that they apparently used to pay off mutual debts or mutual bills, and she'd noticed some strange withdrawals from their joint bank account on April 8th. They totaled to a little bit over, I believe, $1,300, and Elizabeth had tried to call Daniel, but she was unable to get in contact with him, most likely because at this point, he was already dead. Police officers in Utah had come in contact with Aaron and Sierra while they were riding on a TRAX train that had pulled into the 900 South station. When Aaron was asked to show his ticket, he admitted that he didn't have a ticket. He hadn't paid for one, like they were on the train and they shouldn't have been. So the police ran a background check, and it was discovered that Aaron and his 16-year-old companion, Sierra, were wanted on a full extradition warrant out of Las Vegas. So this is pretty horrific because the implication here is that Sierra helped her boyfriend brutally murder her father, and I guess the motive would be twofold. Aaron and Sierra had been told they couldn't be together. They'd been forbidden to see each other or to speak to each other by both sets of parents, which, I think is kind of understandable. If you were a parent of a teenage child and you found out that your daughter and her boyfriend were planning to rob you and then run off together, you might think that the relationship was a bad influence. The motive also appears to have something to do with money, considering the withdrawals made from Daniel's bank account and the fact that the initial plan, even before his murder, had involved robbing him to fund this trip to LA. Now, I think I found Sierra's Instagram, but from what I can tell, there's only one post visible. I don't know if she deleted the other ones or if the other ones just aren't public. And this post was made on March 15th, 2021. It seems to be lyrics from a song by Dean Lewis, and this song is called Be All Right. And it goes, quote, "I still look back at all the messages you'd sent, and I know it wasn't right, but it was effing with my head. And everything deleted like the past. Yeah, it was gone. And when I touched your face, I could tell you're moving on. But it's not the fact that you kissed him yesterday. It's the feeling of betrayal that I just can't seem to shake. And everything I know tells me that I should walk away, but I just want to stay. But nothing heals the past like time, and they can't steal the love you're born to find. I know you love her, but it's over, mate. It doesn't matter. Put the phone away. It's never easy to walk away. Let her go. It'll be okay. It's gonna hurt for a bit of time, so bottoms up. Let's forget tonight. You'll find another, and you'll be just fine. Let her go." End quote. So it sounds like these song lyrics are kind of reflecting how Sierra might have been feeling after being told that she could no longer see her boyfriend. The song says, quote, "They can't steal the love you were born to find." And that means there's a suggestion that someone is telling the songwriter to move on. It's over. Put the phone down. You'll be fine. Just get over this relationship. But the person writing the song, they don't feel like they're going to be fine. And that is how Sierra is feeling, allegedly. Just my speculation. And of course, she's going to blame her dad for taking this thing away. This thing that she feels is everything to her. This thing that she feels means more to her than anything else in the world, because when you're 16 and you think you're in love, that is the most important thing in your world, this person that you believe you're in love with. And on March 21st, Daniel posted a few pictures of Sierra on Facebook, and he wrote, quote, "I love you so much, daughter. You are so strong and brave. I love you. We got this." End quote. And in the month of April of 2021, Daniel seemed to be posting a lot of pictures and videos from when his children were younger, and he seems to be reminiscing on simpler times. And I do understand this as well, especially if he was butting heads with Sierra over this boyfriend thing, and she was upset with him for doing something. And this something that he was doing, he felt that he was doing it to protect her. He felt it was in her best interests.
And here we are with little Sierra Bob. Right, Sierra? Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And she's got her pink towel. She just got out of the shower.
And I'm saying hi.
And there's Jordan. And he's saying hi, right, Jordan?
Yay.
And the kitties have been helping Daddy. Nice.
In the comments under this Facebook post, Daniel replies to someone that Sierra is incredible and so strong through her adversity. So it looks like the same thing is happening to these two people, father and daughter, and they're looking at them in very different ways. So have you ever had an argument with somebody close to you, and you're arguing about an event that happened, and it seems like you're reading the same book but in a different language? It seems like you guys were both there, you were both part of the situation, but you just don't remember the situation the same way. You don't feel the same way about the situation. And you're frustrated because you're like, this is very simple. This is black and white. How does this person not see my point? How does this person not see it in the exact same way that I do? I think that's what happened here. And I don't know. I don't know what happened. It is speculation on my part. I don't know exactly when the parents decided that it wasn't a good idea for Sierra and Aaron to be together, to not see each other, to not talk to each other. But I do speculate that it was probably sometime that March, which prompted Sierra's Instagram post and following that Daniel's Facebook post. Because Sierra would have been looking at this as her father trying to ruin her life. You know, why is he trying to control me? I'm not a baby anymore. I can be in love. I can be with whoever I want. Why does he try to take this thing away from me? I hate him. You know, I have a teenage daughter, been there. But Daniel may have been looking at what happened as something that they both had to get through together. Because he was doing what was best for her, and he recognized that it was hard for Sierra. You know, all of us as parents, I think we remember being 16, 17, 18, hating our parents because they won't let us, you know, go out on dates or see somebody or do something. But for him, he's like, okay, you know, it's hard for her, but I know that we can get her through this to the other side. And maybe she'll realize in the end that I was right the whole time. So while he's posting about her being strong through her adversity and they're gonna get through it, they've got this, you know, I'm so proud of you, I love you, I'm here for you. He's trying to show support and encouragement. Things may not be good for us right now, Sierra, but I love you, I'm still your father. And she's just like, they're trying to steal the love that I was born to find. So I don't know how long Sierra and Aaron were planning this allegedly, but due to the surveillance footage of them buying supplies for the murder, there is evidence that it was premeditated. And I do believe in Nevada, a 16-year-old can be tried as an adult, especially on a murder charge. I do want to talk about the marriage between Daniel and Elizabeth for a moment because it's been reported differently and very vaguely, and I did reach out to Elizabeth for comment to clarify certain things, but at this time she has not gotten back to me. I also have to recognize this is very new, this is very fresh, and she probably doesn't want to talk to anybody about it. And I did tell her that in the message, like, I understand if you don't want to talk, I completely respect that. You're going through something terrible right now, so just ignore me if you want. But I did want to talk a little bit about what happened in their divorce. And surprisingly, even though I have access to a lot of websites that allow me to get court records and things like that, I just couldn't find a lot about this particular divorce, this civil case. So that was strange. We're just going to have to piece together what we think may have gone down. But I do want to say that in certain articles, it's reported that Elizabeth filed for divorce. In others, it's reported that Daniel filed for divorce. The conclusion I have reached from the very few court records that I could get was that Daniel had filed for divorce. He accused her of having an extramarital affair, and he filed for divorce. So this article from the Review Journal says that Las Vegas police arrested Daniel Halseth on October 21st, this would have been 2011, after going to the couple's home to check on the Republican lawmaker's welfare, and the Republican lawmaker's Elizabeth, when her mother wasn't able to reach her. Elizabeth Halseth previously had told her mother that her husband, whom she described as becoming controlling, had taken her phone, purse, and car keys. Police were trying to break into the Halseth's house in the Southwest Valley when the couple arrived home from church, where they had gone for counseling. Halseth told police that 5 days earlier her husband, in an act of jealousy, had touched her against her will, Daniel Halseth told police he had been trying to scare his wife to get her attention. Both agreed the incident ended when he said it was a joke. Open and gross lewdness is a gross misdemeanor under Nevada law. The offense can lead to jail time, but usually does not. The Halseths have been married 11 years. This other article from the Las Vegas Sun says that the Nevada Supreme Court Monday ruled that the ex-husband of former state Senator Elizabeth Halseth of Las Vegas must pay $2,274 a month in support of their 3 minor children. The court rejected the appeal of Daniel Halseth, who said he earns only $1,716 a month in unemployment benefits. The court upheld the decision of District Judge Charles Hoskin, who ruled Daniel Halseth was willfully underemployed. Daniel said he was a stay-at-home parent while his wife served in the legislature. He said he filed for divorce after he discovered she was having an extramarital affair. He maintained that his company had moved to Alaska and he was unable to find a job in Las Vegas. The Supreme Court said Daniel failed to present any evidence demonstrating why he could not find employment. He says Elizabeth Halseth filed charges of coercion, lewdness, and battery against him, but they were dismissed, and he argued in his brief to the Supreme Court he should not have to pay child support since his ex-wife was living with another man. Okay, so, it seems to me that yes, mistakes were made in this marriage. Mistakes were made in this marriage, probably on both parts. I don't know about these charges. I don't know what they entailed. I don't know exactly what this touch was that the Daniel did to Elizabeth against her will. But it does seem that they had put it behind them because when, this happened, this murder in 2021, Elizabeth was sharing a bank account with him. It's been several years later. They seem to be on okay terms. Who knows what happened? But I do want to say that from going on Daniel's social media, it does seem that he has this sense that he had made mistakes in the past, that maybe he hadn't made the right decisions in the past, that maybe he had done things that he doesn't feel are reflective of him today. Because he does talk a lot about, changing for the better, about not letting the bad things you've done in the past or maybe even the bad person you were in the past hold you back today, because that doesn't have to be your reality and your truth. Like, you can become a different person, you can repent, you can just want to make a change for the positive for your family. And I do have to say that he seemed to be a very doting father. His children did seem to be very important to him, and you can tell this, and there's videos on his Facebook page with him and Sierra, and she looks much younger. She's probably about 8 or 9. And, they're dancing in the kitchen. He's talking to her. It's so sad to think that, this little girl who was with her daddy dancing in the kitchen and, hanging out and giving and receiving love would go on to take part in his brutal murder, because this was a very savage act. He was stabbed several times. They set him on fire. It's very Joel Guy-ish to me, right? It looks like they tried to, cut him up, and then they realized maybe they couldn't do that, or it was too hard, and they just set him on fire, and allegedly, according to the police, just tried to set the whole house on fire, and then they took off in his car. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's a very new case. As I said, it's unfolding, but I did want to talk about it because I think that, like I said, there's so much more to it. And once this goes to trial, and probably even before, other things are going to start to emerge. That's going to really shine a light on exactly what happened, what the motive was, and maybe, how Sierra is feeling about it at this point. Like, is she glad she did it? Is that the kind of person that she is? Does she regret doing it? Would she have done something different if she could go back and change it? It's really sad. And it does look like Daniel was sort of, trying to get his life back on track. It looks like he did at some point in the last 11 years, get his life back on track. And he was leading a positive life where he just talked about constant, kindness to others and taking personal responsibility and things like that. It's very self-helpish, but also I think self-helpish sort of internet content can be very helpful and productive and uplifting for people who need to hear it and see it at that time. In fact, I'd rather see all of that now than half the stuff I'm seeing on my timelines and in my news feeds now, but that's just me. You know, there's actually a lot of these cases recently just popping up all over on my computer. I'll be sitting there doing research or, work for another case or editing a video, and my news apps are just like sending me notifications, and it just seems like all sorts of stuff is happening. But none of these cases are really developed enough to talk about them with you yet, because there's just not a lot. And I know you guys like longer videos, but sometimes, I want to get these cases out there and then we can update them as we go, because there's just so much happening. And I don't know if it's just being reported on more right now. Like, I don't know if it's happening more right now, but it's pretty scary, because these are not, your run-of-the-mill crimes like, oh, somebody got, shot in the midst of a burglary, which is awful. I'm not saying that's not awful, but that's the kind of stuff you're used to seeing sort of pop up on your timeline. These are very, really bad cases. Minnesota dad killed his 22-year-old daughter by setting home on fire after argument about her plan to move out. This one right here that just popped up, it says, pregnant Arkansas mom and her 2-year-old son are killed by husband before he turns gun on himself. Motive for this is not known yet. This article says that the gunshots followed an intense argument between the couple. David Priest, 24, was also inside the residence, still alive, but suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I mean, he's young. She's young. This little boy is adorable, was adorable. The mother and son were both shot to death. There's another story that's like slowly emerging of a mother who drowned her 3 young children to allegedly protect them from her abusive husband. Texas teacher accused of sexually abusing middle school boy after befriending him. He was 13. I mean, there's a lot going on. So I will be probably putting out some shorter videos like this one just to cover these cases, to get them out there, to get exposure, to get awareness. And then as things develop, we can talk about them more in depth. But I do want to start, that's what Coffee and Crime Time used to be about, shorter videos about cases that were emerging that we could discuss, that we could keep an eye on. And I will be probably putting out a couple more of those, because there's just so much going on, and I can combine them too. So if you guys would prefer a longer video with like 2 or 3 cases that are currently ongoing but just don't have like a ton of information, I can put like 2 or 3 of them into one video so that it's longer, and then we can kind of discuss and speculate and sort of figure out maybe what the hell's going on. But if that's what you would prefer, let me know. Other than that, at this point, this is all I have for you on this case, but I am watching it, and I will be keeping an eye on things. I will obviously be watching the trial if it's publicized, but I think due to Sierra's young age, 16, it probably won't be. But I'm sure there will be reporters there who are talking about the case and writing about it. But I am really interested to see. I'm more interested to see than anything, I think, how she's feeling about this now. 16's young, and unless there's some evidence that hasn't come out yet, or I haven't found out about, unless Daniel was an absolutely abusive, horrible father to her, it's really tough to understand how you could do something like that or take part in something like that and then kind of go on with a clear conscience. So I don't know. The world's going to hell, or it already has. And we just didn't know. I don't know. It's a little discouraging. It's been getting me down. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Please share the video if you think it's worth sharing. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being here. Stay kind, stay beautiful, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.
Well, the levee don't break now, and the bottle's going straight down. And that river runs deep, the mountains get steep, and the voices getting too loud. Oh, these feelings I've buried, it's looking like a cemetery. They're coming back from the grave, calling out my name, better say a Hail Mary. Well, you don't know how deep it goes until it's getting you slowly. And so you got to let it go. I got blood